so much has changed. Everything has changed about my thoughts on social media. Everything has changed about how I want to do things. And see, I have to make sure this microphone is on. The last vlog before last, I did not realize my mic wasn't off and I was pouring my heart out. Bonjour mes amis and bienvenue to a day of Vlogmas. C'est moi, Jessie, resident francophone. And here on Cappuccinos and Consignment, I focus on lifestyle, travel, and finance. S'il vous plaît, take a moment to like, subscribe, and follow. Follow me over on Insta. I have a blog, on both TikTok and Insta. You have to search moi because I am not always on your feed. My voice does not always sound like this, but a few months ago, I did a luxury staycation at I think like five-star hotel, or four, I don't know, very luxurious hotel. And they had a bathtub big enough pour moi, and I was just singing my heart out. I tell that story all the time because I have to remember that if you are new here, you don't know that. And that leads to the question that we are answering today, and also a bit of housekeeping. If this is your first time watching a video of mine during my 25 day, I'm so paranoid about this. I have to keep looking for the green dot. Trust me, I find these little microphones so annoying, but it is necessary so I don't have to yell. What was I going to say? Oh, housekeeping. Because we are not traditional holiday people, my 25 days of vlogging has been really me just spending time avec mes amis, answering your questions, a few random vlog days, and yeah, I have been enjoying this. Also with my videos, I have not been editing them. It has been very, very minimal. And when I say minimal, I mean about two or so, which is a very big deal for moi because of my speech concerns, issues. I have a bit of a stutter, so I do long pauses to keep from showing that to the world. And I typically edit those things out, but since we are showing up as ourselves and being very, very raw, those long pauses will be included. And I appreciate you all so much for the kindness that you have shown when I share that with you all. So today's question is from Book and Tech Lover. I can read. It's hard for me to speak, but I can read. Request from Book and Tech Lover. Would you feel comfortable doing a video reflecting on your growth from last year as an influencer, or even when you started the channel until now? Also, I don't think I mentioned I'm in Paris right now. But to get to your question, it has been a huge learning curve. So many things have happened from the time I started creating until now, and so much really within the last year. So I started content creating out of not wanting to resent my husband. I was recently remarried. We moved, and I had a very long commute. And during that commute, I was just angry. I was angry because I was the one commuting all the time. He didn't have to because his career, his schedule was totally different from mine. I was working a traditional, I'm saying 9 to 5, but I was really up every morning at 3:30 to make sure I could take the train at 4. And it was brutal. And I found myself becoming so resentful towards him because, as I'm getting up, he's preparing breakfast. Yes, poor mom. But I knew once he dropped me off from the train station, like, he had the day to himself. I didn't do that. I was leaving with my son, Juju the camera kid, very, very early in the morning at about 4:15 or so to get on the train. And there were times when we would not get back home until 7 p.m. I did that for so long, and it was no way to live. I am innately a very nice and kind person. You all say that all the time when you meet me in person, and that's how I am. But during this time, I started being so mean, and especially to him. Just petty arguments, just all those things that were not me. And I realized the issue was I was angry that I had to do this commute. Not had to. I chose to get married and moved, but I was doing that commute. So years and years and years ago, when I was living in Istanbul, Turkey, as a textile designer, I went there for a whole other reason. Perhaps we could do that on another vlog, or I should save that for my memoirs. But I was living in Istanbul, Turkey. I lived in Milan, Italy. I lived in Canada. I've lived in South Africa. During all that time, those times, a dear cousin of mine continued to tell me that I should blog. Blogging was the thing at the time, during the time of Turkey, not South Africa, because that wasn't that long ago. And I just thought that that was ridiculous. No one will want to just watch me live my life. So I needed a creative outlet, but I had to be realistic as to what I could do. I didn't have time to breathe. It felt like, and please forgive if I don't hold this microphone right. I'm still learning how to do this, or the acoustics. And I did not have time to start painting again. I did not have time to start making clothes. I barely had time to think. So I started thinking about what things I could do to give me excitement, give me something to look forward to, and to also make my commute manageable. On the way home, I would do homework with Juju the camera kid, but on the way there, I just needed something to do. So I started blogging. I started blogging, just, it was fun. It was just something to do, something for me to occupy my mind. And it took off. I won't, that's a bit extreme. It started gaining traction, and more so with friends, people I knew, I'm rubbing my eye, please forgive me. I know that creeps some people out. With friends who, friends of friends, and it started getting, going. Then that parlayed to Instagram. Every morning on Instagram, because I wasn't really active on my feed. And if you ever decide you want to take a moment to dig a little deeper, take time to go through like the beginning of my YouTube, or not YouTube, I'm not editing that, the beginning of my Instagram page, and you see, one, how horrible those photos were, but I thought I was killing it. And you could just see the evolution. So I did not post a lot on my feed. Everything I did were in my stories, because again, I really did not have a lot of time. So every single morning, while once I got dressed, I would record my OOTD, name all the designers or labels, just name what I was wearing while drinking my Nespresso every single morning. And the way I started on Instagram was very, very intimate, because I was not on my feed often. All the conversations I was having, I've had vintage Mazami, and if you are a vintage Mazami, confirm these. It's not an allegation. Confirm what I'm saying. I'm not editing that. It was really like me texting every morning with my friends, which is where the name came from. As you know, I'm a Francophile, but Mazami, you all are my friends. And every morning I looked forward to chatting with my friends about what I was wearing, what meetings I had, if I was going to stop at Starbucks once I made it to the train. Like, you all were so invested in my commute and all of those things. And it was really just fun. So as time evolved, I started doing like meetups, in person meetups. We would go shopping. We started, we went to New York, and our trip right before the panorama, we were supposed to go to Montreal to do like my favorite consignment shops. So it was never really, I never considered myself an influencer during this time. Did I have influence? Was I influential? Absolutely. But I was influential, and this isn't to brag. If you are new here, that's not how I am. But I was influential way before I got online. So I never really considered myself an influencer, because um, it just, I didn't. So it wasn't really until stay at home orders when I really had a lot of time, because I was then working from home like most people were. I was working from home. I was able to lean more into, I wasn't even calling it content creating, I'm just saying posting. So started doing that, and I was spending a lot of time on Instagram, and a former, like, we worked in the same building. I hope she's okay with me saying that because I don't have time to check. We worked in the same building. She is a dope content creator. I'm going to just put her name in the description box just in case she's not okay. I can easily delete it and not have to delete the video. I remember being on, okay, so going back to when I was on the train, I remember being on the train and there was this fabulous woman who I used to see every morning. And at this time, I was very, very afraid to tell anyone that I was on Instagram or I was doing any of those things because it seemed so pretentious. It seemed so, perhaps you understand. So I was always embarrassed to share that. But it was something about this woman where I don't know, I ended up just sharing that to her. She said, "Oh, I'm on YouTube." So at this time, I was more focused on Insta because it's quick. You just post. I was during a time where Reels weren't even around, like, or if they had just started. But I had, I shared that with her, and she said, "Oh, I'm on YouTube." So we started following one another. She vlogs. She's more so a vlogger than Instagram, and I loved it. She would see my stories because everything that I did was on my stories. And she said, "Jessie, you really should start vlogging because you post so much in your stories." Like in Vintage Mess, I mean, you please chime in. You all remember when I first started, my stories were like 50 slides. Like it was so much because that's all I did. I just recorded and posted. So she said, you should really start posting on YouTube because you have so much. I have a meeting. Um, you have so much content and all the things that you are doing. It gets deleted in 24 hours and so many people don't see it. So perhaps I went about this in a roundabout way, but c'est la vie. So during stay at home orders, that's when I really, really started being online more often. Um, a few brands like kind of reached out to me, but nothing really substantial or not things that I was interested in. And it was very early on. It was very early on in the process that I discovered. Um, I don't know how. Oh, one second. Mercy. The document. If you come back to the shop, I can make it again. Okay. Isule, I'm preparing. So I don't even know where I left off, so I may have to redo this video. But yeah, I really started building a community, and I really, really loved where this was going. I never made a lot of money doing it because I was a full time employee with a very extremely good salary. And it just never mattered to me. The money didn't matter to me. I didn't know about affiliate links. Like, I'm just getting those things like this year. I didn't have affiliate links. I didn't have any of those things. I was just showing people what I had and people were buying it. So it wasn't until last year that I started realizing that this was something that I could do for a living. And then it all changed. When I decided to fully lean into this, I thought I was going to be one of those content creators who made a living off of brand deals, made a living off of sponsored posts and things of that nature, but it just did not work out like that for more reasons than one. So it's been a very, very big transition with becoming a entrepreneur, understanding that my path is not going to look like anyone else's. And it's been scary. It's scary when you think you know what you're going to do, and then all of those things seem to disappear. I Yeah, it's been, I feel like we're going to have a really, really in-depth conversation one day, but I really wanted to vlog before I got on my flight. I'm at the airport and I do need to have a meeting. So, so much has changed. everything has changed about my thoughts on social media. Everything has changed about how I want to do things, and it is not easy. It is so hard to be in a space where I am really self-sustaining. Most content creators make their money from brand deals, from affiliate links. I don't do those things. So I truly have to come up with ways and tap into all of my former degrees in fashion, in the arts, all of those things to make money. I appreciate the support that you all give constantly. Okay, I'm at the airport, so love you all dearly, and we are going to catch up on this when I get back stateside. Book and tech love, merci beaucoup for your question, and we're going to check back in. Ciao for now.